back to another top 10 list. This is one that I don't think I've ever done before, and if I have done it, it's only been like once or twice, and it was probably a while ago because this is just not something I usually think about on the front end of the year, and that is my top 10 expansions anticipated for the year 2019. Now, of course, as with most anticipated lists, I don't know a whole lot about all of these things, but what I do know about it intrigues me, so I'm looking forward to seeing what these expansions offer for their base game counterparts. So let's get to it. My number 10 is actually a conglomeration of a number of different expansions that are coming out this year for Star Wars Legion. They have no less than 6 different expansions already in the pipe, and that's just what they've told us about. Fantasy Flight is notoriously known for keeping kind of an ace in the hole, so to speak, and not telling anybody about something that's being released until like Gen Con or maybe Origins, but usually it's Gen Con. But the 6 that have been released are, first of all, the Imperial Death Troopers, those stormtroopers that had black armor that followed Krennic around in Rogue One. Then you also have the Imperial Specialists personnel, and then you also have, of course, the Commander Orson Krennic. And then you also have 3 expansions for the Rebels. You have the Rebel Pathfinders, the Rebel Specialist personnel, and then Jen Erso as the Commander. So I like the fact that they're opening up into the new stuff that has come out, because unlike most people, I actually do enjoy some of those new movies. I just like Star Wars. I like the fact that they're taking some twists here and there, and that they are keeping it alive, I guess you could say. I just like seeing people fighting in space with really cool looking ships and lightsabers and laser pistols and all that other kind of stuff. I just really enjoy that stuff, and I love that they're continuing on the characters and bringing some new characters in that have some pretty good life to them, I think. So that's my number 10. All 6 of the mentioned expansions so far for Star Wars Legion. My number 9 is an expansion from Yellow for their new game 8-Bit Box, and this one's called Double Rumble. Now, Double Rumble is going to be, if you know anything about the 8-Bit Box, it's kind of like a console board game where you're going to be able to purchase these modules, so to speak, that you can use with all of the core stuff that comes in the base box. And Double Rumble is first of all, the core box came with 3 different games, an Olympics-style game, a racing game, and then a Pac-Man style game that has a few different ways that you can play it. Well, Double Rumble is going to be another arcade-ish type game, but this one's more along the line of a Street Fighter or something to that effect. So you're going to be pitting different fighters against each other, and I just like this system. I wasn't so enamored with all of the games that came in the base box, but I do like the idea of having this console board game that you can then purchase different modules, much like something like Time Stories or something to that effect. So I like the idea. I like that they're continuing with this project that they started last year. So I'm looking forward to 8-Bit Box Double Rumble, my number 9. Number 8 is Robinson Crusoe Mystery Tales. Now, Robinson Crusoe is a difficult cooperative game that I like it, don't get me wrong, but it's really hard to win. And I usually don't like games that are really hard to win. But this expansion has some modules in it. They're going to be, as far as I can tell, they're going to be different scenarios that you can go through within the Robinson Crusoe system. And a couple of them are based upon pretty interesting stories from actual history. And I love it when games do that. They take actual history and they put you into that situation, and you have to kind of figure your way through it. So that's what I'm really looking forward to, are the historical scenarios kind of that are coming in Mystery Tales, and I'm just really looking forward to it. Hopefully it's going to be something really fun. So that's my number 8, Robinson Crusoe Mystery Tales. Now, my number 7 is a couple of expansions for Thunderstone Quest. Now, Thunderstone Quest is a game that I have enjoyed a lot. I enjoyed Thunderstone Numenera probably the most, just because of the theme that's there, kind of a mashing up of fantasy and sci-fi there. But The Thunderstone Quest is the new version of the game that is kind of the epic version that everybody kind of used to play. Well, not everybody, but people used to play a lot of. And so they've kind of mashed that all together into Thunderstone Quest. And now it's going out and getting this dungeon and having to go through different rooms and defeat the monsters that way. Well, the Barricades mode actually turns it from a cooperative style game into, a competitive style game into a cooperative style game where you're trying to protect the village, and apparently monsters are going to be able to attack the village, but you still have to get in there and beat the monster, the boss monster, so to speak. So I like that a lot. Then there's also going to be another expansion called What Lies Beneath. I know less about that than I do the Barricades mode, but I like how they're taking this system and they're expanding upon it, and they're making it a little bit more diverse, so to speak. Rather than just a dungeon crawl, now it's something a little bit different than that. So I really am looking forward to these to see what it adds to that Thunderstone Quest system. So that's my number 7 Thunderstone Quest expansions. My number 6 is an expansion for a game called Baron Park. Now, Baron Park it's called Die Grizzlies sind los, which I believe that the Grizzlies are here, I think is what it means. And so Grizzlies have been added, but this is a modular expansion where you can pick and choose. I believe it came with like 5 different modules. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But it is a modular expansion, and I love modular expansions. I love the fact that you can take all of them and chuck them in and probably hate yourself for it later, or you can just kind of piecemeal it. And I'm going to use this one this time, and then I'm going to use this one and this one the next time, and that type of thing. I love it when they do that because that gives more longevity, more life to the game. So that is what I'm really looking forward to. I enjoy the game, really. It's a spatial organization type game where you're building your bear park, the amusement park that people can come in and check out all the bears. But this is, the different modules are interesting. So I'm looking forward to this one as well. My number 6, Baron Park, Die Grizzlies sind los. My number 5 is an expansion for The Expanse, the board game. Now, this is a game that I really did enjoy. The component quality of the game was pretty much on the low side, but the thematic enrichment from the TV show to the board game was really good, and the gameplay was really fun as well. So I really did enjoy The Expanse. They're coming out with an expansion called Doors and Corners, and this is another modular expansion. We're going to have stuff like leaders and different factions and stuff like that coming into it, and I'm looking forward to it. I really did enjoy The Expanse, the board game, and I thought it was basically gone and dead. So when I saw that they were coming out with an expansion for it, that kind of lifted my heart a little bit. Don't mean to overspeak it there too much, but I was pleasantly surprised that they were coming out with an expansion for it. So kudos to Jeff Engelstein for doing that, and hopefully it does well. But I'm looking forward to giving it a whirl. That's my number 5, The Expanse, the board game, Doors and Corners. My number 4 is for a game called Sagrada. Sagrada is coming out with 3 different expansions over the course of this year for itself, and they're all called The Great Facades. But this one is called Passion. That's the first one. Now, I don't know what the other ones are going to be like, but I do like the fact that they are continuing to produce things for this game, and they're not just letting it fall by the wayside. I really do respect Daryl Andrews and that and his crew for doing that. I really enjoyed Sagrada. It's a great game. Looks great on the table. A lot of eye appeal, and I just enjoy the game, and I'm looking forward to the expansions that are coming out for it this year. So that is my number 4, Sagrada, The Great Facades, Passion. My number 3 is an expansion campaign deck for Hero Realms. This is called the Lost Village campaign deck, and anything new for Hero Realms is a good thing. I loved Star Realms when it first came out, and I still really enjoy it, especially now that they have the different commander packs with the special abilities and everything like that, which Hero Realms kind of started with. But Hero Realms kind of really grabbed my attention with those commander packs because they were kind of released all at the same time, and it gave a leg up over Star Realms for just a little while. But now they're pretty much even because they're pretty much the same game, just one is sci-fi, one is fantasy. But I really do enjoy these little one-off campaign decks that they put into Hero Realms. So this is one expansion that I'm really looking forward to as well. Hero Realms, the Lost Village campaign deck. My number 2. Shh. I still really enjoy Time Stories. I really have a lot of fun playing the game. I love how thematic it is. I love how each different module expansion plays just slightly differently than the others. I love how they are all thematic. I know the other guys don't like it too much, and it's almost kind of taboo to like Time Stories at this point. But I still really do. And they're coming out with another expansion called Madame. Now, I don't know what it's about, but it's another modular expansion for Time Stories. And I really like Time Stories. So that's my number 2. Don't tell anybody else, though. And finally, my number 1 is a game, an expansion for a game called Inish. And this one is called Seasons of Inish, yet another modular expansion. Now, this one may not have made my list. Now, you might say, what? It's your number 1. How could it not have made your list? Well, frankly, I haven't been able to play, or rather, I hadn't been able to play Inish in a very long time. But during one of the retreats, I had a very memorable game of Inish, and it really kind of brought it back to the limelight for me. And it reminded me just how much I enjoy the game and why I enjoy the game so much. So when I saw that they were coming out with a modular expansion for it, Seasons of Inish is going to have some new cards. It's going to have a new Seasons wheel or something to that effect, which I guess is going to affect gameplay in some way, shape, or form. I haven't read too much about it, but when I saw it, I was very excited, and I knew it was going to shoot up to the top of my list because I really do enjoy the game that much, and I'm always excited when I have a game that I really enjoy, and they come out with an expansion for it. I want to get it, and I want to play it. So hopefully, Christian Martinez has done a good job with adding to the goodness that is already Inish. So that's my number 1, Inish, Seasons of Inish, and that's that. So those are my top 10 anticipated expansions for 2019. I certainly hope that they all don't disappoint. I don't know that I'm going to be able to get all of them because there's a lot here. There's actually a lot more than just 10 expansions on this list because I kind of grouped a lot of them together. There's probably around, probably 20 or 25 expansions here. So yeah, that's just the way it goes. But just understand that I think this is going to be a good year for both board games and expansions alike. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you for joining me. I certainly appreciate it. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.